Today we're talking mundane astrology, specifically the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. That goes exact on the 20th, and this is getting a lot of press because even though this conjunction happens every 14 years, the last time it occurred in Taurus, tropical Taurus, was during the 1940s, during World War II and the Great Depression. And it's not surprising that those events co-occurred with these alignments because we have the sign of our provisions, our earthly resources, the earth itself being touched by Jupiter, the planet that rules over the sky and storms, also around justice and ideas and philosophical dogmas, connecting with Uranus, the planet of sudden change, revolution, and technology. So we'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of this conjunction because all planetary aspects have their higher expressions and their dark sides. So war is definitely on people's minds, not just because of all the wars going on, but we have Neptune going into Aries in 2025, and the last time that happened was the Civil War. So there's a lot of these alignments that echo from times where we had very big wars. Now, the main difference between the Great Depression and now would be that now we are printing foods from 3D printers. We're growing meats in labs. And so I don't know that this particular conjunction will manifest in the same exact way as it did during World War II in the food scarcity and shortages. It might, but I think we're dealing with some different unique issues to our time. One of the things that I find a little unsettling about this particular conjunction now is this, what I call the homogenization of ideas and information. So we have these technologies of machine learning and AI, things like ChatGPT that came onto the scene recently, and they have a lot of beautiful application and potential. But we also, if we think of Jupiter being our philosophies, our higher learning, the rich cultural belief systems and oral traditions, Jupiter is the ruler of Sag, the opposite sign of Gemini, which is information that's just data. Jupiter is the information that is like our humanness and the the richness and the diversity of our various cultural traditions. And so with some of these advancements, like ChatGPT, they're literally, right now we might not notice it, but in generations to come, it's literally dictating how we think, what ideas we can explore. And not only is it just not accurate in some of its information and limited in some of the information it can allow, but it has built-in biases to it. I also think the way that technology is taking over education is potentially problematic. And again, Uranus, it wants to be revolutionary, but there's also limits. There's also a kind of homogenization that Uranus can bring where it wants to take away differences to the point that there is no diversity in thought, for instance. And to me, that's very dangerous. Some of the benefits of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is these advancements in preserving our biology, so life extension. We have all these beautiful technologies coming about to help prevent and cure various very common diseases that were prior, things that we couldn't fully figure out. So there's new developments in cancer treatments, and we're also seeing things like the 3D printing of organs for organ transplants, things like wearable technology to monitor health, new screening methods for breast cancer, that are emitting less radiation. So there's a lot of good that can come from this unison of planets. And I do also want to point out that in May, Venus will join this conjunction. So we have a softening to this conjunction, and why I'm not necessarily convinced it has to be as scary. There can be a beauty in unity consciousness that comes from Jupiter, Uranus, and Venus coming together. We just have to be careful not to lose sight of, one, some of the limitations of these advancements, and even some of the limitations of trying to make everything equal and take away all the differences. So the idea of getting rid of gender, to me, that's a very Jupiter Uranian concept, and we can see the humanity that we kind of lose in that. So that would be kind of, to me, the more of the dark side. We're also seeing the colonization, the conquering, the bringing of terrestrial life to these far off Uranian places like the moon. So NASA has talked about by 2025 this Artemis project where they want the first woman and the first person of color to go to the moon as part of a project that, quote unquote, this is from NASA's website actually, that quote unquote will be part of their long-term goal of establishing sustainable human presence on the moon. And they want to study the presence of water and its habitability. Oh my God, habitability? What is that word? So yeah, these are interesting Jupiter-Uranus developments. And again, it's just like recognizing our limitations, having our morality catch up to some of these Uranian revolutionary inventions, advancements, etc. If you're curious how this particular alignment will affect your charts, because it can bring about sudden developments in your life and potentially beneficial ones, look at what house that these two planets are in. So where Taurus, what house Taurus rules in your chart, and that will give you a good idea. If you guys are curious about readings, you can book through my website, radiantguidance.com. Have a beautiful day.